season without the delicious taste of an ice-cold Dr. Pepper. College football, it's a pepper thing. Clippers Radio Network, as they have asked Chris Paul to run away. What is happening? Along with Michelle Smallman, Chris Canty, Evan Cohen with you. Good morning, everybody. Chris Paul has been sent home in the middle of the night. You're probably just tuning, well, obviously you're just tuning into us, we just started, but you're just tuning in and you're unaware of this story because, let's be honest, we were unaware of this story until we basically got here today because it happened in the middle of the night that the LA Clippers and Chris Paul parted ways. He puts out an Instagram post of basically, I've been asked to go home on a road trip in Atlanta. And after 21 seasons, 6 of them with the LA Clippers, and his retirement tour, which he already announced, they sent him home. Michelle Smallman, Chris Canty, Evan Cohen with you. What is going on here?
It's the shortest farewell tour we've ever seen in professional sports. Guaranteed. I don't know what to make of this because when something like this happens so abruptly, it typically falls outside of the realm of your normal disciplinary issues that you see in professional sports, missing curfew, missing bed check, so on and so forth. I am shocked that something like this would happen to Chris Paul in a season where he wanted to bid farewell to all of the NBA fan bases. But based on what we've been seeing over the last couple of weeks, the way that things have been trending over the last couple of days, especially on this road trip and the days prior to, it feels like this organization is at an inflection point, and clearly there is a disconnect between the front office, the coaching staff, and this current core of players. And Smalls, I don't know where the Clippers go from here.
I don't know where they go from here either. And yeah, clearly this is something to shake it up. But when I woke up and I saw this, I was like, what? What do you mean? I thought I was still asleep. I couldn't put it together.
You may have been.
I might still be right now.
Yeah.
But then I went, because when I was reading the story, it said he posted on social media, and I went and looked, and sure enough, 2:45 a.m. was the timestamp. And I'm like, they really did this in the middle of the night. It reminds me of Luca, where it happens in the middle of the night. So many people wake up and they're like, what? But for this to happen to Chris Paul, someone who has been such a prominent figure in the NBA for 21 seasons now, for him in the middle of the night to just be dismissed like this so unceremoniously, it feels icky. I don't like this story.
It's clearly conduct detrimental to the team. I just don't know what the nature of that conduct is, and the fact that it's happening in the timing that it's happening, it's so ambiguous, it leaves everybody to speculate and imagine the worst case scenario. Now, if it's a situation where the two sides can't function forward, you would think that there is irreconcilable differences between where Chris Paul is at, what he imagines for the team, what he envisions for the team in order to get right, versus where head coach Ty Lue is at. But the timing of it, if that's the case, just doesn't make sense. You don't do things like that for insubordination at 2 o'clock in the morning.
No. To Chris Paul.
It's Chris Paul. Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
At all.
And by the way, they're on the East Coast, and the highlight we played was from the game the other night against Miami. So this is not in the middle of the night. Like, this is not 11 o'clock Pacific time. Now, some of the Clippers executives obviously may have been there. Let's just deal in facts right now because, CC, you just said a ton of things that I think we need to react to. So the Clippers released a statement, okay? Lawrence Frank, who is in charge of basketball operations, said, quote, "We are parting ways with Chris, and he will no longer be with the team. We will work with him on the next step of his career." That's important to note in a second. Chris is a legendary Clipper who has had a historic career. I want to make one thing very clear. No one is blaming Chris for our underperformance. I accept responsibility for the record we have right now. There are a lot of reasons why we've struggled. We're grateful for the impact that Chris has made on the franchise. End quote. That's from Lawrence Frank. From Chris Paul, we mentioned the Instagram story. He said, quote, "Just found out I'm being sent home." Okay.
Peace sign emoji.
Peace sign emoji. Now,
He's
next
out.
step of his career would mean that he wants to continue to play. What's important to note on what CC said about the idea of the quote-unquote insubordination, not saying he was insubordinate, saying when someone is sent home, it is usually for something like that. If Chris Paul and the Clippers decided, you know what, we stink, which is true, we don't have our draft pick, meaning there's no benefit to stinking, We're 5-16. We're the second to worst team in the Western Conference behind New Orleans, who just lost Zion for another few weeks yesterday, per Shams Charania. Let's figure out a way out. Let's do this together. Let's release a joint statement. Let's have a press conference. Let's let everybody know this is not working out. We're going to play the young guys. We're going to give Chris the opportunity to go latch on to Oklahoma City, where he once was, and try to win a championship in his final year, or go back home to Charlotte and have the final season there. Whatever it is, this was not a joint statement. That is important. By the way, as a point of comparison, Adam Thielen, who was traded to the Vikings this year from Minnesota, went to Mankato State, Minnesota State, whatever
Correct.
it is, comes back to the Vikings. They released him yesterday because he's not playing. They're not very good, and or 2 days ago, and he's claimed on waivers by the Steelers. Technically, a first place-ish team. That was a joint statement made by the two parties. This was not a joint statement. And based on 21 years of behavior, I find it hard to believe that Chris Paul got in real-life trouble. The only guesstimation I can make is that he has a voice.
Well, if he was getting in trouble, don't you think his post on social media would be a little different?
He didn't get in trouble. There's just no way he's getting in trouble. I'm fine sitting here with egg on my face. He didn't get in trouble.
A lot of professional athletes get in trouble in Atlanta, but I wouldn't worry about Chris Paul doing something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
What is he sitting there with a CEO at a steakhouse last night? Come on, it's Chris Paul.
But to post just...
you were out too late with somebody who runs the biggest ad agency in the world? You understand the people that he rolls with?
Yes. But to post, just found out I'm being sent home, peace sign emoji, the way I interpret that, again, this is just hours after he posted on social media, is that he was taken by surprise.
Of course.
That this was not something that he felt was coming.
Right.
Because the words for someone who's been in the league for 21 years, if this was the end and if it was a mutual decision, would be much different than I just found out in the middle of the night that I'm being sent home. And for the Clippers statement, for Lawrence Frank to say we're grateful for the impact that Chris has made on the franchise, this does not feel like a sentiment of gratitude for you to release Chris Paul in the middle of the night.
Right. Like, let's be clear. He may have gotten this information while he was sitting at dinner with Jeff Bezos and Tim Cook. This is not some troublemaker, right? This is not Antonio Brown running off the field shirtless against the Jets for the Bucks. My guesstimation is they felt like it was. I don't want to have. It's a reckless speculation. What is Chris Paul? A leader, a captain, a large voice, players association.
You know what he is? Remember yesterday, not to interrupt you, sorry, but when you were talking about the Giants yesterday, and you were saying there's no veteran voice in that locker room
He's
that
a veteran
people
voice in the locker room.
Can listen to or learn from. That's who Chris Paul is. You bring Chris Paul into the organization because you want the young players who are malleable on your team to learn how to go about their business from somebody like
So
that.
based on the track record, do we give Chris Paul the benefit of the doubt in this situation?
When I first read
do we just assume that he's the one that's being the voice of reason in a franchise that's moribund and that's 5-16 and they're fledgling and they have no solution as to how to get this season back on track?
When I first saw this, my first instinct, and again, we could be proven wrong, was what did the Clippers do to Chris Paul?
No, I don't. See, that's interesting. I didn't go there.
But I took it as I'm on his side. I took it as
fair.
I'm on his side. What are they doing here? I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt more than I am that organization.
Well, think about it. The post that he had right before this current road trip where he was on social media and he posted the Oxford Dictionary definition of leeway as to insinuate that there is no accountability within the franchise, and that's leading to all of these players with huge names and huge salaries underperforming.
So it's Kawhi or Harden. Which one are you referring to? That's what we're talking about, right?
Well, I mean, what we're talking about is just benching all of the starters on Monday night against the Miami Heat.
Yep.
When they were down by as many as 38 points. That's what we're talking about.
Here's my belief. Again, reckless speculation because this is a stunning development. Let's be clear on what this is. This is a future first ballot Hall of Famer in the midst of a retirement tour being sent home where we know it's his final year by a team that he was going to have his jersey retired by. Just to put this in perspective, you may not know everything about all 21 years of Chris Paul's career or anything about the Clippers this year. Think about whatever person you deem to be a first ballot Hall of Famer in a retirement tour being sent home in the middle of the night on a road trip. How I view this, again, I could be wrong. Chris Paul has one thought on how to do things. Ty Lue has another, and they couldn't coexist.
I agree with that.
That's a guesstimation.
I think that's where everything came down and line was drawn, and clearly Chris Paul stepped over that line. And Lawrence Frank in the front office decided to side with the head coach that's on a 5-year contract paying him $14 million a year. They're tied to Ty Lue through the 28-29 season.
And he's damn good, too, by the way. They're both damn good.
Well, they're both
Not
damn
this year.
good. They're both damn good, but Chris Paul's on a 1-year deal.
Right.
So if you have these two people that are diametrically opposed, then all of a sudden, if you're the front office, if you're ownership, you're going to side with the individual that you still have the longest term commitment to. Now, here's the interesting part about that. The Clippers, as we know them now, the foundation of that was laid in Chris Paul's first 6 seasons with the team.
Right.
Think about that. When he showed up, they were a laughing stock. It was failed lottery pick after failed lottery pick. Like, my lasting memory of the Clippers before Chris Paul got there was Michael Olowokandi. Remember him?
7-1 out of Pacific.
Yeah, exactly.
Number 1 overall pick in the draft.
Exactly. How'd that work out for them? Not great. And so my whole point is,